Here's why you cringe when you hear the word helpmeet. It's the Grown and Liberated Love Club, where we vibe high, heel deep, no pick-me love. No shrinking, shape-shifting, or settling for less. Only divine equal matches. Say it with your chest. It's the Grown and Liberated Love Club. Wanna feel joy, choose peace. So baby, listen up. Hey, sweet love. Welcome to the Grown and Liberated Love Club. I'm Candace Harper, dating and relationship coach for sacred baddies and rich aunties who want their divine equal match without all the shape-shifting, shrinking, and submitting to the patriarchal BS. I'm also a former career-focused high achiever who almost died from struggle love. Now, I'm 4 years joyful with the love muffin of my life. And I'm here to guide you to the grown, sexy, emotionally safe love life you actually want too. Each week, I'll be breaking down myths, answering cries for help from clients and social media, and deconstructing love lyrics to help you get your mind right for the love that is your birthright. So listen up, Buttercup. Okay, my sweet love, I have been doing a little bit of research on Beyonce's internets. And, as I do throughout the week, I think about all sorts of things. And I keep running across a certain word. And I think it's a word that actually, it's really hard to hear this word and not have some level of cringe in this day and age. So today's topic, here's why you cringe when you hear the word helpmeet. So when I did my research, I Googled a little bit, I went online, I like to read different points of view and things like that. But what came up first, I wanted to share because it talks about the origin of that word, the origin of the word helpmeet. So it's from the original phrase, and help meet for him in the King James Version of the Bible. I didn't take the time to make note of what verse or anything like that, but this is where Google says it's from. In the King James Version of the Bible, the phrase, and help meet for him, meaning meet here within this word means suitable, fitting, appropriate, and meets you where you are. It's a suitable thing for you. So a help meet is a helper who is suitable for you. And so today's usage it's kind of archaic, but accurate to the original biblical phrasing when we use the word help meet, though it is often misunderstood as help-meet, which I'm not really sure what they mean by that, misunderstood as, I guess, maybe two words. But then they say helpmate, which is, I guess, interchangeable, is a contracted form of helpmeet. And that's born from misinterpreting the two-word phrase as a single word. So I guess they took helpmeet and made it helpmate, whatever. Helpmeet and helpmate are very interchangeable with each other. And helpmate, meaning a helpful partner, companion, spouse, or someone who assists regularly, right? So your helpmate, I guess, could be your executive assistant or whatever. So the usage in modern English, it's interchangeable with helpmeet, like I said, and it's something that, because people confused it with the original helpmeet, sometimes they'll say helpmate. They always mean the same thing. But I guess the key difference and an interpretation is that with the original Hebrew and the precise interpretation, it suggests genderlessly, it suggests a helper who fits or a suitable partner. There's no subordination in it. It emphasizes equality and complementarity, not inferiority. It's not about a hierarchy. There's none of that in any explanation wherever you go around helpmeet, helpmate. So a lot of times you'll hear debates online and, people going back in the comments, and it's always about how a woman's supposed to be a helpmate, helpmeet. A woman's supposed to do this, a woman's supposed to do that. And according to my Google research, in the original text, there is no gender involved with this conversation. Now, there might be some stuff around in Genesis or with Adam and Eve and stuff like that, because the idea is that Eve came from the rib, blah, blah, blah. But we'll get into, all of that. So the modern usage, both terms function as synonyms for a supportive spouse or companion. Spouse, there's no gender in spouse or companion. though helpmate is more widely recognized today. So you'll hear people saying helpmate more often than helpmeet, but lately I've been seeing helpmeet a lot, and it's usually from my Bible people. Because then you get on these internets and you're having these social media conversations, and the patriarchy addled are talking about women being a helpmeet or a helpmate, like I mentioned, and the submission and the subordination that is required, and how modern women don't have it. It's like that is what's in the conversation, in the zeitgeist, talking about how modern women don't know how to submit, don't know how to be subordinate, don't know how to, say they want a leader, and don't know how to be led. And it also goes along with conversations about Eve and Adam's rib, and never mind the science that consistently proves where human babies actually come from. It's a very esoteric, patriarchy-addled conversation. And it's usually women who are drunk from the Kool-Aid, or men who think that leadership is being able to command silence and demand a sandwich. But let's talk about, we need to get into it, all the reasons that modern self-sufficient, self-loving women truly get the ick when we come across words like submission, helpmeet or helpmate, and even sandwich, for that matter. The number one reason that I believe is because the churches that we were raised in pushed this dysfunctional biblical narrative. And they were often toxic patriarchal systems of misogynistic behavior, where men were set up as hierarchy. The minister was always a man, and there was this hierarchy of, the men are supposed to be the leader of the family and the conduit to God, and as if we can't talk to God on our own, whatever our version of God, universe, the higher power is, as if we have no channel, we have to go through men. And I'm not even going to go into the depth of how the Bible was written, rewritten, translated by men whose need for power and superiority overrode their scruples when it comes to denigrating people. And in this case, women, right? We know as people of color and Black folks that a lot of the Bible was rewritten and translated in order to subordinate our people, right? And definitely, in many cases, women, and set up social structures like traditional marriage to have us bought, sold, and traded like farm animals. And let me tell you, that's a whole other podcast, because I could go into how we as women of color, as Black women, as women in general, but women of color and Black women in particular, have that intersectionality between our race and our gender and what subordination is supposed to look like. And the fact that there's an insistence that there must be hierarchy within the most intimate relationships that we have, which I am vehemently against any idea that in my most intimate relationship, I don't even like hierarchies in my friendships. I don't subscribe to them. I do not like them. I've never been, part of anybody's mean girl crew. I've usually had some sort of best bestie at the different stages of my life. I was raised in a household where hierarchy was the underlying condition. Of course, my father was the leader of the house, and whoever was older was, left responsible, to be in charge. And I believe my older sister was parentalized. Like hierarchy, I think, runs rampant within our communities. But for me, I think it's a toxic, unhealthy way to function in any kind of relationship. And so at some point I'll do a whole podcast about the intersection of, being a woman of color, being a Black woman, and being a woman, and how that affects this whole hierarchical idea of our relationships. But for this podcast, we're going to just talk about this one particular thing, because it could go in so many different directions. The second reason I believe strongly, and there's probably other reasons too, which I hope that if you're listening to this, you will also share with me what comes up for you around what you think are the reasons that these words, submission, helpmeet, helpmate, why these words just kind of tend to rub us the wrong way and get our ire. Because, those of us who learn and grow and work on ourselves, it's not because we don't believe that someone may know more than us. I think that we're open to that we learn from other people, and we're open to that other people can have ideas and, that we can go along for someone else's ride. I don't think that it's that we're unable to submit to someone else's energy. I think there's a lot of things at play. Like, can we trust this person? Is this someone worth listening to? Like, we're very hyper vigilant of that because we live in a society where, it can be very dangerous if you just decide to trust anyone and be guided or led by anyone. And so you have to have a level of discernment, because also if you don't have a level of discernment, they'll turn around and say something happened to you because you didn't pick well. Right? So, we want to just have an understanding that there are solid reasons for why these words actually trigger what they trigger within us. And we have to be very graceful with ourselves and forgive ourselves for those things, and not let strangers on the internet make us feel like we shouldn't have any sort of energy around words like that. In fact, I think we all benefit from being able to examine the energy and heal the energy, because it's ancestral and it's generations old. Another reason that I think those words give us the ick is because modern men who haven't taken the time to understand what leadership truly is think that it's about the ability to feel superior and boss women around and be the final word on every issue. They make the idea of being his helpmate sound like signing up for Abu Ghraib treatment in your own home. It sounds like torture. Who wants to be with a man who just wants you to shut up and wants to boss you around and be the final word? I mean, half the men over 40 don't even know how to eat healthy. Mine included, and I love him with all of my heart. But he knows that he can't lead me when it comes to food. He can lead me when it comes to other things. He's very smart about so many things. And, just listening to him has been very helpful in my life. And, having his smarts and his kindness and his interpretations of life, his perspective on things is always he's got leadership qualities, and it's very helpful. But he's not a healthy eater, not naturally. I'm the healthy eater, so I get to lead in that department. He doesn't always go along with me, but I don't care. Like, we have to be very sober about thinking that, there's any man or any woman that knows so much and has such an understanding of everything that they can just tell us what to do, and that their word should always be final. There was a time, there was a day when that was the expectation in a family, and a woman was, inferior, and she was lower on the rungs of the ladder. How'd that work out? Society evolved, right? And so we know that it doesn't work. It doesn't work to have that expectation. And I don't think men even do well with that expectation, that they have to have the answer to everything, because they know they don't. They know they don't always know where they're going. They know they can't always lead, because there's things that they need to grow and learn and figure out as well. Too much pressure. And then one of the third main reason that I think that we get so disgusted by this word is because we know that if our only lot in life was to work to uplift a man and to live for him and live for what, he needs, and to listen to what he says, the genderless, most high, powerful, infinite universe would not have given us intelligence and creativity, a thirst for knowledge. We wouldn't come with the gifts that we are given. We have gifts that go beyond what it means to take care of a man in the, the basic physical sense. Those of us born with a vagina know that vagina and all of its nerves are connected to a womb, which is the vessel of life. And that is how we function biologically. And that's how we bring to the world biologically. But also there is a cellular connection to our hearts and our brains that causes those things and those functions in our body to make us extremely creative when we tap into it, and problem solving, and organized when we tap into it, and able to express ourselves and care for others and build for the world and structure and discover in ways that are so profound that humanity wouldn't exist without our contribution. And that's not a competition for men who are listening. We know that humanity wouldn't exist with your contribution as well. But we wouldn't have been given these gifts if our lot in life was just to support men. We know that our purpose goes far beyond that for those of us who are awake to it. And y'all know Eve was trying to figure out how to spread her wings and fly. That's why she ate that apple, because she wanted to be like Lilith before her. You don't believe me? Look it up. But we were born to express our talents, use our gifts, and live into our purpose for the sake of our communities and the world, just like men are. And while, yes, there are women out here who would be happy to devote their entire life to their man's endeavors and reap the physical rewards of choosing the right one to rep for life, for those of us who know that we're here to be just as impactful and valuable in the world as any man, any other gender, we need to be clear about helpmate, and leadership and submission in a way that those who aren't tapped into their own gifts may not be. Rather than cringe and get scared and have an issue and have the hair on the back of our neck stand up when we hear those words, we want to get clear about what those words mean in our life, right? And how they function well in our life. We want to alchemize those words and use them for good. So what does that mean? We want to take the time to create clarity around the roles that we want to embody in a healthy, loving relationship. We want to get clear about what that really means, what those words really mean, so we will know how to bond with a partner who really aligns with us. Which also means, number one, we have to learn what a leader actually is. We have to learn what a leader actually is for ourselves and learn how to recognize when we are with one. We have to take the time to be willing to recognize whether we're with one or not. And you can't judge it by whether they pay for the date. That is not going to tell you whether you are with a leader. That will tell you whether you're with someone who's generous, giving, open, and doesn't mind investing in an experience. And those are good signs of the possibility of a leader. But a leader is someone whose word, actions, and commitment are consistent. And so it takes time to understand someone's leadership capabilities because you need consistency. You can't assume that because someone plans and pays for a date, that first date, that you're dealing with a leader. You need consistency. You need a show of commitment. Someone whose resolve is not conditional. So if they give up and they stop leading and they stop trying and they stop whatever they're aligned with because someone else fell out of integrity, because someone else didn't do what they wanted them to do, they blame the world, they blame, their brother, they blame whoever, their mother, for why they're not doing the things that would be appropriate as a leader. Their resolve is conditional. It doesn't necessarily make them a bad person. It makes them an unhealed person, right? But it takes time to realize that about somebody. And you got to be willing to devote that time without getting so attached that you end up stuck, right? So in these early periods of a relationship, these early dating phases, you're looking to just see if this person is of their word and consistent with their commitment to things. They know what they're creating in life. And their resolve is not conditional on the outside world. Like they know what they're creating. They know who they are. They've spent time with themselves and have a clear understanding of what their vision is. And they're willing to share it with you to find collaboration. Right? A leader also knows how to share leadership because they have the wisdom to understand that they are not the expert at everything. And as I was saying before, I think this is part of why so many men are so confused about leadership. They think it means autonomy over everybody and all-knowingness. And since no man knows everything and no woman knows everything, no one knows everything. But, I feel like because men have this pressure of being a leader, they measure their leadership by their ability to use force and control over others. Because knowing everything is impossible. So let me look at what I think I can do, which is just take control. And if you've ever been with a controlling man, whether he's naturally controlling or he's forcing himself to be controlling, whatever it is, you know how mentally and emotionally destructive and exhausting it is for all parties involved, even himself. Controlling men get sick of themselves after a while. But it's especially destructive for a relationship and for your ability to have peace. Right? Trying to meet up to a controlling person's need. That's not leadership. It's insecurity. And we don't want to confuse those things. We also have to be willing to embody leadership ourselves. It means that we have to understand leadership and embody it ourselves, because we're looking to create partnerships here, partnerships that work for both people involved. And that's not bossiness. It's not pushiness. It's, yes, standing up for yourself, but not aggressiveness. Leadership doesn't require aggression, right? Sometimes we infantilize the people that we're with because we want to boss them around and ridicule them and, neck snap and say what we want to say, whatever we want to say. And then we feel like, we'll say men are children or, something wrong with them. And so I had to take charge. Rather than understand that there will be times where the person you're with doesn't understand something to the depth that you understand it, or needs some sort of guidance around it. And the idea here is that it's guidance with respect on both parts. We're not here to boss each other around. And guidance with respect can be heard from someone who knows how to keep their word, someone who understands that leadership is being of service, someone who's bringing value to the relationship, not just the love and the affection, but value to the relationship. Like if I say I'm going to be somewhere, I'm going to be there. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If my word has to change, I communicate that my word has to change. Those are leadership qualities. We get caught up in, he got to keep tabs. You got to keep tabs. You got to check phones, blah, 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 and all that stuff. That's not leadership. It's control. And within that, the ability to fill ourselves up emotionally so that our interactions with people that we love are an overflow of understanding, support, acceptance, and appreciation. It's an overflow of those things. Loving others is not depletion when we give people what we've learned to give ourselves. If we've learned to give it to ourselves and we're overflowing it, you don't end up with that depleted feeling. I feel used. I wasted my time because they didn't reciprocate. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. When we know how to fill ourselves up, we become a space for the kind of alignment that is reciprocated. And we have to trust that, right? Rather than always be looking for the reciprocation, looking for the actions that say, what we want them to say. And so when I say, when we give people what we've learned to give to ourselves, and I say learn to, because that's the healing work that we're doing, right? Because most of us, we were taught by words and or example to be highly self-correcting, always raising the bar of achievement, striving to be good enough, often unable to acknowledge or accept acknowledgement for meeting expectations. We never let ourselves hit the bar and sit with that and celebrate that before we're looking to do the next thing and not letting it be good enough, not giving ourselves credit and trying to be everything to everyone from a state of depletion. That's not leadership. Taking it all on is not leadership. Leadership is understanding who has what strengths and, what to delegate, what to share, what to talk about. And so that role flip-flops. I always say it's a volley. Right? Not a game of keep away. Number 3, we have to begin to understand that our submission is not for the bossy and controlling, or even the guy who pays, like I was saying earlier. Unless, of course, it's a sexual kink. If, you're into that sort of thing, who am I to judge? And I'm not mad at it. But you got to be able to compartmentalize. You want to separate that from your dynamic in a relationship if what you want to be is fully self-expressed, living into who you are, living in your purpose, and have a healthy love in your life, right? That's the end goal. And so submission, being a helpmeet or mate, is a mutual agreement of partnership. It's something that at different times, two different people coming together have to be able to offer. Where both emotionally mature adults understand that in a partnership, there is no hierarchy. There is open communication, appreciation for each other's value, and the trust that comes from word keeping, loyalty, and shared intentions, which also means that it's something that we build together over time. Something we build together over time, a time where we give each other space and freedom to be ourselves without judgment or personal injury. You know, in those early dating stages when we're taking it personal and having all kinds of judgments about a person because we can't let go and just really see where this is going and see what's possible. You know, maybe we're worried about the shoes they're wearing or something they said or something they did that wasn't right or whatever, rather than just releasing judgment, releasing attachment that they have to be something in particular, releasing the need to immediately cut them off, and just seeing who they are, allowing ourselves to see, because the more we allow ourselves to see, the more our automatic discernment gets stronger. Right? And as we're continuing to be aligned with who we are, we're becoming a space for that divine equal match, and trusting that that divine equal match will be the one that it's so peaceful, it's so easy to be able to come together. Now, that's not to say you'll never have a problem or a conflict. Don't, misquote me. But the divine equal match is that person where the coming together is easy. You never have to wonder with a divine equal match whether that person wants to be with you. It's peace and it's ease. And there is an easy, meaningful process for when you're ready to find your partner. The one that wants to collaborate with you, appreciates and acknowledges your strengths, sees your weaknesses through the eyes of love and forgiveness, and is truly committed to working together for a joyful relationship and a loving community within your family, chosen or otherwise. And that is your divine equal match. Unlike a soulmate, it's not someone out there that you need to find. Your divine equal match is who your soul automatically attracts when your mind gets free from its limits. Right? The mind has to get free from those old stories, that old conditioning. It has to get free from that old trauma, whatever we've been through, all the crazy conversations on the internet, the things people believe about what you're supposed to do about this and that, and what's high value, what's not high value. The mind has to be freed from all of that stuff to open up and be a space for your divine equal match. If you're ready for your divine equal match, you're ready to talk about it, apply for a call with me. CandiceHarperLoveCoach.com/grown-liberated-love. And it's Candice with an I, by the way. CandiceHarperLoveCoach.com/grown-liberated-love. I leave the link in the description wherever you're listening to this podcast. And that's it, my sweethearts. Now we're going to take a little break, but we will be right back with Girl, What You Going Through? Breaking down the love lyrics that are wrecking your love life so that you can bop along and still thrive. Hey girl, welcome back for Girl, What You Going Through? Breaking down the love lyrics that are wrecking your love life so you can bop along and still thrive. Today, we have Miss China Monet, y'all. Oh my goodness. She's a rapper out of Atlanta, and sis has things to say. Now, when I read her lyrics, especially after segment 1, some of y'all are going to want to punch me in the face, but I want you to lean in. I want you to lean on in because, again, we are breaking down all the lyrics that could potentially wreck your love life, and some of them will be very extreme, or they will sound very extreme. So I'm going to just jump on in, and I'm going to read these lyrics, honey. Stay with me. I promise it will be worth it in the end. So all you B words, cap and say you don't need a man. Leaving when he building, but you need a plan. It's submissive women in demand too. I'm nothing like that drama you put your man through. I say I cook, I clean, I F-word, I shut up. I cook, I clean, I F-word, I shut up. I cook, I clean, I F-word, I shut up. Submissive women in demand too. Rip them out the magnum, P-word ran through. That's why your baby daddy can't stand you. Keep some clothes on, leave them curious. That's why these ninjas don't take you serious. What's your body count, ho? I bet you shut up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you tell the truth, I bet he nut up. All that hoe shit ain't respected. Get your shit together. Yeah, perfect it. When them bills late, you gonna be crying to a ninja, trying to find you a ninja, spend time with a ninja. When you get some money outside on a ninja. F-wording 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of his ninjas. All you B-words cap and say you don't need a man. Leaving when he building, but you need a plan. It's submissive women in demand too. I'm nothing like that drama you put your man through. I say I cook, I clean, I F-word, I shut up. I cook, I clean, I F-word, I shut up. I cook, I clean, I F-word, I shut up. And that's the end. Now, y'all know I did not want to film my podcast with a bunch of swear words because I don't know where this is going to play. And I don't know if you're going to have kids in your car or whatever. So I tried my best. I wanted to keep it clean so that people would listen. You know that I also am a trucker mouth, so I use these words. But I feel like there's some limit to the number of F words, B words, and P words that you can put before you have to take an adult rating. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want everybody to be able to just listen in and enjoy themselves. And so, you look in the comments and not surprisingly, a whole bunch of make me a sandwich and bend over dudes left comments hoisting this sis up. And I don't want to knock her hustle. She's doing her thing. And I almost hesitated to even use this song because it's so simplistic in its patriarchy, adult, I hate women message. But I had to, because sis said all of this with her whole entire chest, loud and bold, with a complete lack of understanding of what being with a man like this would ultimately do to the wild sense of full self-expression that had her write the song in the first place. And I also know that most of y'all listening might come across this song and wouldn't even take it seriously. So I'm not here to tell anyone how they should react to it, right? It's not even about that. Everybody has their thing and everybody goes through their different phases of life where they believe certain things and they believe, certain actions. And, some women do really, really want to get picked no matter what. And, some women have been conditioned to think certain things for whatever reason. And we all come from our different backgrounds and we all have our reasons why we believe certain things. But for those of us who know, especially from experience, that a man you have to small yourself up for and dumb yourself down for is a death sentence to your happiness. Some of us know that from experience. Some of us, got in situations where we smalled up and, dumb ourselves down and try to, cook, clean, F word, and shut up. And that didn't work out so well. And some of us just know from common sense, that if I know myself, I know my personality, that's not who I would be able to be in a relationship, not anything real or long term. So if you come across this bop, let it be the inspiration to speak peace and ease over your life, right? Because there's women out here who are willing to give up their soul in order to have a rock on their finger. And I want to just give you the counter because I want it to rather than feel some kind of way about it or have it perk you up to want to get into some kind of internet argument or go into debate or get into that energy, that low vibrational energy where you think it's something you have to combat or defend about yourself because that's not the way you see it. I know it's so easy to see stuff, especially when it's said with such loudness and such chestiness and such bold confidence. People don't mind being loud and wrong on the internet. And sometimes it can feel very jarring because, you either want to fight it, argue it, resist it, go up against it. But, I always say what we put our energy towards, what we feed is what we grow in our lives, and what we speak over our lives is what we increase. And so that's not what we're trying to do. I want you to come across stuff like this, and I want you to take it as an opportunity to speak peace and ease over your life. And so I want to give you this hypnotic incantation that I wrote. I am no rapper, But these are my words. These are my bars. It's all of me or nothing. Do you want to build or are you bluffing? We grow, we learn, we love, we level life up. It's all of me or nothing. Do you want to build or are you bluffing? We grow, we learn, we love, we level life up. We, because it's a partnership. And if this is what you want to experience, apply for the Grown and Liberated Love Club. CandiceHarperLoveCoach.com/grown-liberated-love. And that's it, my sweethearts. It's been a wonderful week, and I'm looking forward to another wonderful week. You've been listening to the Grown and Liberated Love Club. Subscribe, share, and never take relationship advice from joyless people. You're not unlovable. You're just unmatched for now. I love you so much, my sweetheart.